Okay, everybody, I'm going to call the meeting to order in a minute, in just a couple seconds. Okay. All right, everybody ready? We're going to call the meeting to order. Jim, you tell us when? Okay. All right, good afternoon, everyone. And wow, perfect timing. Okay, we really can start the meeting now. I'm Bev Griffin-Dunn, chairperson of the PVMHS School Building Committee, and we are today attending meeting number 8 of the School Building Committee. It's Tuesday, October 28th. It's about 3:10 p.m., and we're meeting at the PVMHS Leather City Cafe. So what we're going to do is go through a fairly brief agenda, and I would like to make sure that I give everyone a project update of everything. But first, I'd like to say, Mayor, if you want to say anything.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. No, nothing particular I want to touch on today. I know we're just going to touch on a couple of topics, but again, I just want to thank everybody. I feel like we're just on the precipice of really starting to get into the big steps here, and I just appreciate everybody's efforts so far, and I think the fun's going to be beginning soon, so thank you.
Okay. All right, and we've got a full board meeting today, so everyone's here. If it's okay with all of you, I would like to hold our last meeting. I'm going to give you a whole packet of past minutes, and we can approve them at the next meeting, if that's all right with everybody. Okay, all right, thank you. Next, as far as the project update, as you know, we've been doing all kinds of paperwork behind the scenes, getting ready for putting our RFS out to the public, looking for our OPM. And in a bit, we'll discuss that in depth. But we do have some things going on in addition to that. We're definitely going on visits. I have a couple of tentative visits to high schools in the area. I'm not going to say which ones today because I want to confirm and should have some more for you. I'll put that out in an email. But they are probably going to be in the middle of November. They won't be within the next 2 weeks, probably that third week of November and then onward, which will be exciting to see other projects and see what people are doing. And then I do have a definite date. This is for anyone who would like to take a tour at Essex North Shore of their geothermal project. It's a project we've just completed there, just cut the ribbon a couple of weeks ago, and I'm able to take 8 people from the committee. If you're interested in it, just send me a message, but we'll be able to about geothermal heating projects because there's a lot of money up front, but there was quite a good, I have no idea if it's still going to be in place by tomorrow, funding from the government encouraging people to look into geothermal heat. And what Essex North Shore did, they not only installed this project, the equipment, it's all compatible with their system, but they've also used, I call it the boiler room. That's now a classroom, and they're teaching students how to work on those systems. So it's a win-win for the school and for the students, and it's just something really interesting. It's a little off the beaten path for our project. It's not, a full school, but it's a component that I thought you might want to look at now. It's something we can save that information. We'll come back and give it to the committee, but we use it down the road as we're discussing what we want to do for power and heat and the utilities here in the building. So just message me if you want to go. Then the next thing that we're going to speak about, I have some copies, and a couple of you, I ran out before you got them, but this is the OPM internal planning dates from MSBA. And if you can look on with someone if you need to, this is the project timeline at the moment for that OPM preparation. The working group is going to be meeting on Thursday to go over the language we want to put into the RFS, and that will come back to you for a vote, and I'll talk about scheduling our next meeting, because at that next meeting, we'll need your vote in order to be able to put that through to MSBA and to publish it and start advertising for an OPM. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dan Doucette, and Dan can give you some more information about that, and then we'll be able to answer anybody's questions. So Dan, you go right ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. We sent out through the chair several templates that you can all use as means of examples. The two that are the most helpful, I think, will be for the city's side of things, what we did when we solicited for an OPM for the Welch School project. We've got a very good team as a result of that. And second is the RFS that was sent out by our neighbors from Salem Town for their OPM for their high school project. So you can see, you know, as a compare and contrast exercise, how you can make changes where they allow you to make changes to the MSBA template. And there's 4 sections which we've sent out as a highlight, where we can say what we want based on our expectation, what our current conditions are, what our expectations are going forward, and who do we want, and the level of experience we want from the project team. There'll be a lot of carryover for an OPM to an architect, but the going forward is certainly subject to change, because that's what the whole 3-year planning process is all about. I think our expectations of experience, to me, will be the most important, and we can add to the evaluation criteria, but we can't take anything away. And so that's been handed out. You've got 2 examples to go by based on successful project hiring of an OPM on 2 MSBA core projects, and that's what we'll be using as a kind of an outline going forward on Thursday, and we'll be compiling as we get ready for a vote of the full board in December at the call of the chair. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, I'll see some of you on Thursday at City Hall.
Right. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about that process at all? The people who are really involved with it have a lot of questions. I'll be honest, even I do. So it's a really involved process pulling together this RFS, but we're trying to get the input from various members just so that we can have a good cross-section of thoughts on this. So if anybody has anything, that they're particularly interested in seeing improved in the new building, someone has an interest in energy efficiency. I'm sure we're going to be looking for LEED certification. We did that with Welch. We did it with Higgins. We're definitely going to want to do it here. Bring that to our attention. We'll put some of that language in, because we want people who've worked with that type of a focus on projects that they've done in the past. And then after we put that into the central register, where people then apply, we are still sticking to the schedule to be able to appear before the MSBA board on March 9th, which sounds like a ways down the road, and as you can see, it's going to be here before we know it. So all of your voices are very important, and if you can think of anything that you really, you have a real interest in making sure that we're looking at that and that we want someone who can work on that, just let us know. So what we also need is, as I said, the vote of this board to be able to submit it. I'm looking at a month from today, which would be November 25th. It's a Tuesday. I know it's the day before Thanksgiving. So I know I'm cutting it close, but would that work for everyone? Tuesday, yeah. Because Wednesday's a half a day for school, so we want to be able to use this building and, get you out in time for turkey, so. So does the 25th look okay, tentatively? Okay, all right, good. Then that's what we'll do, and at that point, we'll have a vote on submitting our ad. And you'll get it early, so you'll have time to read through it. And again, when you receive it, and you'll have the email. I'll tell you, take a look and let us know what you think about it, okay? Also, when those tours come up with the other schools, as soon as I get confirmation, I will send it out to people who have asked if they could go, and we'll try to get a good group going. And again, the tour at Essex North Shore, that one's off, a little bit offline, but just let me know if you want to go. Okay? Really, I don't have anything else on the agenda. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to bring up? The mayor? There we go.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Just a couple of quick items. I think a lot of what the meetings that we've had to date have been kind of meetings that we need to check boxes with the MSBA. And again, I keep saying 2026 is going to be a big year, and it will be. That's when I think a lot of this stuff is going to start to happen, and we're going to be assembling our team and all of that. So I know a lot of these meetings have been kind of quick, and we haven't really been able to get into too much, but they are important for us to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to, that the MSBA requires of us, and that we're organized and kind of taking the steps that we need. So I wanted to mention that I do think 2026 there'll be some lengthy meetings, and we're going to need everybody helping out, and I think everybody's ready to do that. I just didn't want people to say, oh, geez, these meetings have been pretty quick, because they have been, but there's a reason for that, and we have to do these according to what the MSBA requires of us. Secondly, we're going to be doing a number of tours, and hopefully everybody's able to go on a tour or two along the way at different schools. We're focusing on the newer schools, and Mrs. Dunn and Dr. Vidal have mentioned those. But if there's a school or a building or whatever that you've noticed along the way that you'd like to have us take a look at, or some program that a school has, in their building, whether it be a CTE program or whatever, please let us know as well. That could be very helpful. And, I want to see as many buildings as we can, look at different ways that schools, districts set up their buildings, all of that. So, this will be a critical time for us to really do our due diligence in looking at what other cities have done. This will be a generational building that we're developing here. And any building that you think or like the setup of, or like what this school did or whatever, that could be very helpful for us in kind of determining our path. So please, it doesn't have to be a brand new school. If it's a few years old or whatever, just let us know. Every time I'm at a sports game or whatever, I'm walking around schools and kind of being creepy maybe and looking in windows and stuff. But if there is something that you think would be valuable, again, it doesn't have to be a brand new school, just something that might work for us or something that we should consider. I think that'll be very helpful for us. So I wanted to mention that. It doesn't have to be a brand new building, even though that's what we will be looking at. Certainly, the MSBA is encouraging that. We want to do that, but any building that of interest could be helpful.
Thank you. And like the mayor said, there might be a feature that you really think is interesting that we should talk about. For example, the geothermal heating. That's kind of different. You might see a place with solar panels in the parking lots or in the roofs or anything like that. Any of the features that you see that a school has. After serving on this committee, you will never look at another building the same way again. I am promising you that. You will walk into a building with a completely different focus, and it's interesting. It can be fun. Sometimes it can be really awful. because you can't enjoy a building because you're looking at the brickwork or checking out their ceiling tiles and wondering how did they do that, why did they do that. So you will all be changed from your experience here in a good way. But there are so many innovative things out there that we are going to be able to talk about. We might not be able to do all of it, but it'll be really interesting to see what we can bring back to Peabody to be able to provide for our kids for the future. And this is, I told you it would be fun. I promise you it will be fun. And we want to make it fun. And we don't want to take up too much of your time. Dan?
Just to work off of that, Madam Chair, please don't forget that the value that we had in our previous projects were the working groups. So if you have an idea, it may not necessarily go into the RFS for the project manager, but it will go into the planning process with the team. And these are, and there are people here who represent each of the working groups that I can think of, whether it's safety and security, whether it's athletics, whether it's instructional programs, you name it. There are a number of working groups that will come out of the process and that we may not be able to get to in the OPM solicitation, but we'll certainly address as we go forward. And as I say, the 3-year planning process. And that's where the chair and the mayor will get these working groups together. So some of these ideas, whether it's energy saving, you name it, these are things that we can populate into the working groups and really get a good sense of as we finalize what we want for a building. So don't forget that. So if you have people that are interested that aren't necessarily voting members of the committee but are interested in the process, get their names, let us know who they are, and we can put them in the list for assignment later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. That was important to let everyone know about that, really was. So I appreciate it. Are there any other comments? Oh, John.
Quick one. Pick up on a comment you made about programs. I know when we submitted originally to the MSBA, we put together some additional CTE programs that we would like to see move forward. Do we still have room? Is it, as we're still in the planning phase, do we still have, we're not bound to that, right? We can add to that as well. If we find some program as we're going through schools and we see some additional things that interest us, we can bring those forward as well. Good. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
George, do you want to say anything? Sorry.
Yeah, just briefly, we're not tied to any of the programs that we put down. It was just something that we wanted to explore. And so as we get, it feels slow right now for everybody, you know, but, you know, like the mayor said, 2026 is a big year. And that's once we hire the OPM, it gets really exciting because then you look at where on the campus is the building going to be and what types of fields or roadways or things, parking lots, how are we going to design that? That gets really exciting, and then we really dive into the programming and what programs will we offer and what are we going to build for. So although it feels slow right now, 2026 it really picks up fast and it gets really exciting. And when you start talking about what's it going to look like and where's it going to be located, that's when it starts to become real for people. So we're very close to that, so it's exciting.
No, I appreciate that. I think obviously we're going to be looking at structures and layouts and all, but I think through osmosis, we're going to hear about programs and whatnot that the other schools are offering.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we have that ability to bring those forward.
That's a great point.
Consideration. Thank you.
Great.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments? No? Okay. I am going to tell you one. If anyone here gets contacted by any firm that may be looking to work here, don't respond. Just let either me or Dan know about that, because we have to be very, very careful with procurement laws. And some firms, they're very helpful. They will offer to give you tours and things. We have to take a hands-off approach on that, because those are people who would be looking to contract with us. So just let us know that going forward.
Yeah, I expect that people will be getting calls if you haven't already. I expect people will be getting calls if you haven't already from different companies, unions, things of that. Just send it along, let us know, and then at the appropriate time we'll start doing interviews and things of that nature with the different groups. But I expect that Some of you may have already received an email or a call from somebody, so just let us know, and when we get to that stage, that's when we'll be talking with everybody. I expect that will happen.
In a way, it's a good sign. It means people are watching and they're excited about the project, so that helps. Okay, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, John. Okay, thank you, Tom. Okay, everybody, we'll see you next month, and some people will see you in 2 days. Okay.